Okay, it's Sunday again. Got yet another game lined up. We've gone back to our old favourites. I gave the Dwarves a try last week, but I shot him up so bad I think so I was scarred for life. So I've agreed to give him a rest for a little bit, even though I've only played one game with them. We're thinking about doing a Dwarf and Skaven campaign at some point, maybe, if I can get Psytherapist to remove the scars from last week. Anyway, so we've got a Battle for the Pass scenario. We're playing Orcs and Goblins versus Ogres again. It's currently our favourite armies. I've been assembling some more Savage Orcs and even painting a few now. So it's shaping up. We may actually get this army painted one day. Anyway, so that's the deployment. It's 3,000 points, and I'm going to run you through the Orc and Goblin army. Okay, first up with a Goblin Spear Chucker. Then we have 40 Black Orcs, a Goblin Rock Lobber, a level 1 Goblin, Shaman, that is, Night Goblin Shaman, Squig Herd, I can't remember the denomination, but I think it's like 16 Squigs, 8 Handlers, a Troll, 38 Savage Orc Biggins with the War Boss, who has a big axe, and level 4 with the Lucky Shrunken Head. We have a Mangler Squig, another Troll, another level 1 Night Goblin Shaman, another level 1 Night Goblin Shaman, a bunker of Night Goblin Archers, Orc BSB, a Doom Diver, Rock Lobber, another Spear Chucker, 48 Goblin Spearmen, hand weapon shield armed Night Goblins in the building with 2 big bosses, both with great weapons, 6 Squig Hoppers, Orc Boar Chariot, and another Spear Chucker. And that's it. So it was quite a lot really. And that's my army, and I'll pass you over to Si and he can run you through his.
Okay, my deployments. We have a Sabertusk on the left flank, a unit of Iron Guts. As you can see, I underestimated how far I should have deployed to the right, so I've had to deploy a bit further back to meet with restrictions. I've got my Ogre Horde, which has a BSB and Slaughtermaster in, level 4. I have an Iron Blaster, another Noblar Scrap Launcher, 4 Mournfang with all the trimmings, the now newly stripped Stonehorn that has been pinned to the base, so that ain't never coming off unless I throw it away in a fit of rage, but since it does very well, that's unlikely to happen. I have another Iron Blaster, then 2 units of 3 Lead Belchers, another Sabertusk, and then right back, because there was nowhere else I wanted to put it, I have a lone Sabertusk bringing up the rear. And we decided to swap dice this time around, and it's already paid dividends because Ollie rolled a 1 with my dice, even though he finished deploying first. I rolled a 6, so hopefully that is a good omen. So I have the first turn, so we'll get back to you at the end of Ogre's turn 1. Okay, and in a round, probably quite the worst possible opening round I've had ever, including some rather brutal rounds playing Skaven. I managed to do 8 wounds to myself and nothing to Ollie, and I managed to take my 2 Iron Blasters out of the game for another turn. I killed 2 Squig Hoppers. Very good point. Basically everything moved forward, up and around, I opened up Magic Phase. I thought, bonus, I just need cut the spells off, it'd be good. Rolled a 3. Ollie got a channel, so we had 3 dice each. With Grutzicle's help, I thought I'd try the Maw. I'd never used it before. Seems a good idea. Try and take out that Mangler Squig, hoping for a scatter onto the Savage Orcs. So Julie placed it down, rolled the scatter dice, rolled a misfire. Well, in the end, ended up killing basically 2 ogres and wounding another. So I kind of got off lightly with that, as my slaughtermaster managed to survive. So then I thought, right, well, shooting phase, got to redeem myself. Both iron blasters misfired, fouling the mechanism, so I can't fire until turn 3. And then, obviously, I roll a 1 to shoot the harpoon launcher on the Stonehorn. And then the lead belchers managed to do salvage some pride and do 2 wounds to the squighoppers. Yeah, that's quite possibly the most miserable opening round I think I've ever had.
What about the scrap launcher?
Oh yeah, the scrap launcher did fire, but at the squigs, Scad didn't misfire for once. Although to insult me as I rolled the dice into the box of dice, it came up as a misfire. So yeah, it might be time for some new artillery dice, because that one is pretty bad. I can only hope that Ollie suffers the same fate with his artillery next round. So yeah, it was pretty miserable, really. And yeah, there's an unfettered mangler squig kicking about. It was getting a bit too close to my cavalry for my liking. So yeah, that might be some bad times ahead. So yeah, I'll have to see what happens at the end of Orcs and Goblins turn 1.
Okay, it's the end of Orcs and Goblins turn 1, and yeah, it started off in earnest. I failed a animosity test with the Savage Orcs, and then rolled get 'em. But of course I had my Mangler squig right in front of them, but luckily, because I'm clever, I put a troll in front of them to stop them from actually charging forward. Otherwise that would have been bad times. Charging through my own Mangler squig on turn 1. So yeah, so I'm glad I did that. Right, so that was that. Passed all my stupidity and my frenzy test, thankfully. And that was it for housekeeping. Then in the movement phase, just moved up the squighoppers and the Mangler squig, who rolled pretty high, but not quite enough to connect with the Morphang. Although it'd be relatively safe there, because obviously size iron blasters aren't doing anything next turn. And then the magic phase, obviously because this unit had tried to charge, my level 4 couldn't actually cast any spells, so it's down to the 3 level 1 goblins. I rolled a 6 the magic phase, managed to channel, and in the end I cast... what did I cast? I can't remember what it was now. Oh, Night Shroud. Oh yeah, but I rolled a 1 for the mushroom, so he didn't actually get to cast it. And then I decided it wasn't worth casting the other 2 spells I have, which are Itchy Nuisance, which was out of range, because that's from this guy, and Gift of the Spider God. I didn't really want to risk casting it, plus I had a load of spell dice anyway, so just left it. So that was the end of the magic phase. And then the shooting phase, the bolt throwers didn't let me down. This one killed his Saber Tusk, and caused a panic test in his lead belchers, but he passed it. This one fired at the Mornfang, managed to do a wound to 1, which is excellent. And this one fired at their Saber Tusk, hit it, and did a wound to it, which was nice. The Stone Thrower hit the Stonehorn, but failed to wound it. The Doom Diver hit the Stonehorn for 5 hits, and failed to wound all of them. And this one fired at the Mornfang, scattered onto a different Mornfang, a very small scatter, and then rolled a 1 to wound. So yeah, that was pretty bad. And that was it. So it's the end of Orcs and Goblins turn 1.
Okay, bit better turn for Ogres. Over here, my advance has sort of stuttered out a bit, although I did move around the lead belchers to bear down on the Mangler squig. Over here, my unit advanced up. Where the 2 guys are in the forest is actually the actual representation of where they are. So obviously just we couldn't get them in, that we're doing this. Then over here the Iron Guts moved up, Mournfang stayed where they were, as did the Stonehorn. Basically, magic phase, I got Toothcracker off on the Mournfang and Trollguts off on the unit, with the idea that if I failed to kill the Mangler Squig, I'd at least give my guys a pretty good chance of surviving some of the wounds. Although on my subsequent round of shooting with this, I would have been screwed, because I fired the Noblar scrap launcher over at the Squigs, hit 18 of them with a direct hit, and out of 18 4-ups, I got 3. So I just found myself lucky that wasn't wounds, because if it had been wounds, I would probably rage quit, because that would have been really annoying. But yeah, so I killed a Squig and a couple of handlers. Then my cannons have obviously been cleaned out now, so they can fire next turn. My lead belchers here did the great thing. They took down the Mangler Squig. Nice round of shooting. Got 4 hits, 3 wounds, which was enough. Although it did half of its job pretty well, in that it's held up my advance quite significantly. Then these guys went to shoot at them, but unfortunately didn't roll any 6s. Got like quite a few, I think 14 shots, but yeah, rolled no 6s, so a bit unfortunate there. So yeah, not a bad go. I didn't lose anything, although I did manage to kill another Ogre in the big unit with Grutsicle. But yeah, other than that, I'm all right. So yeah, the Ogres are hopefully going to come back now. In the next turn, we'll have to see what the Orcs and Goblins have got in their turn 2.
Okay, it's the end of Orcs and Goblins turn 2, and there was no animosity problems, no stupidity problems, and no frenzy problems, which was nice. And then in the movement phase, I just moved the Squig hoppers up a little bit, just kind of get in the way of the Stonehorn. The Chariot attempted to charge these lead belchers, but they wisely fled. The Troll just moved up to kind of redirect the Horde, and that was it. And then in the magic phase, got 7 dice, I think. Cast Foot of Gork, so I failed to dispel it, and the Iron Guts, but it veered off and only killed 1, but squashed him outright, which was nice. Unfortunately, it was only the lesser one, so I actually didn't get another stomp. And then I tried to cast Itchy Nuisance, but it was out of range. Then in the shooting phase, the Rock Lobbers both fired at the Mournfang. One's misfired, and the other one hit them, but actually failed to wound. The Bolt Throwers both fired at, well, one fired at the Horde, managed to fail to wound, I think. Did he fail to wound?
Yes,
yeah,
it failed to wound, yeah.
And the other Bolt Thrower just fired at the Stonehorn, but failed to hit. And then the Doom Diver managed to hit the Stonehorn, got 6 hits on it, and actually did 4 wounds to it, which was lovely. So it's only got 1 left now, which is really nice. So at least I did something. So that's it, the end of Orcs and Goblins turn 2.
Okay, end of Ogres turn 3. Basically, with my heavily wounded Stonehorn, and with only 1 wound left, I thought, I'd better get him to do something. So he charged into the Squig hoppers, and yeah, as you can see, mercilessly butchered them. Over on the corner where Ollie's Rock Lobber is over there, my Lone Sabertusk charged in. Got 3 hits because they failed their fear test, but yeah, only 1 wound, which was pretty pathetic. So yeah, unfortunately he then managed to get a wound and slot me in return. So yeah, really annoying there, because it would have been beautiful, because on the other side, as you can see, one of my cannons actually did stuff and removed his other rock lobber. So yeah, it could have been good. But yeah, in the magic phase was pretty much defunct. I rolled a double 1 and already got a channel. So I basically couldn't do anything. I tried and rolled really low, barely enough to cast Toothcracker, but yeah, I easily dispelled it. Basically, the shooting phase consisted of me shooting the lead belchers at the chariot, not doing any wounds. One cannon, obviously cannoning the rock lobber. The other cannon aimed at the doom diver, hit it brilliantly, but failed to wound. Roll 1. So yeah, it could have been a really awesome turn if I got a little bit more luck, because then Ollie would have had no artillery except his two bolt throwers. But I can't complain too bad, I suppose. At least the Sabotage did make his points back, which is rather nice. So yeah, that was well. I was going to say also in the movement. Everyone kind of moved up now as they are unimpeded by anything that's going to utterly wreck the unit. So yeah, everyone is kind of getting into position to try and do some charges. Although there's a troll trying to get in my way. So yeah, not too bad, not too great, unfortunately either. But oh yes, and these failed their panic test again, and decided to scarper a bit further. So yeah, not good for them. As although I've got plenty of board to try and rally them in. So yeah, we will have to see what happens in Orcs and Goblins turn 3.
Okay, it's end of Orcs and Goblins turn 3. There was animosity problems. The Orcs actually failed theirs. Orcs, but I was planning to charge with them anyway. In movement, the chariot charged as well. He charged the Iron Blaster and failed. These guys did actually attempt to charge but failed it, and I had to charge the troll out of the way. So the troll charged into the Mournfang. And that was it for charges. In the movement, I just moved these guys out, which of course triggered the Fanatics, and they finished off the stone wall. So we only had 1 wound left. I ended up doing 12 hits to it, and I think 4 or 5 wounds, so that finished him off. Then in the magic phase, because my shaman had failed to charge, he couldn't cast. So I attempted to cast Itchy Nuisance, which went through onto the Ogre Hordes, reducing their movement by 6, which is quite nice. Again.
Every time.
So that's the only spell I managed to get off, unfortunately, but that wasn't the only spell I cast, so that wasn't so bad.
The only spell you needed.
And then in the shooting phase, both my bolt throwers missed, and my rock lobber fired at his Iron Guts but scattered off. And then in close combat, it was only the troll versus the Mournfang. Unfortunately, the Mournfang whiffed all their attacks and only managed to do 1 wound to the troll, and then the troll vomited on them in return, and it actually turned out to be a drawn combat with their standard of my charge. So that troll's won them up pretty nicely. Just kind of messed up, but we'll see what he can do about it in his turn. That's the end of my turn 3.
Okay, end of Ogre's turn 4. Quite a hilarious round this time. The lead belchers here finally managed to return to the fight. So they just turned around. My little pussycat has advanced a bit further forward to be charging that next round if he survives. Basically with everyone kind of buggered with Itchy Nuisance, I had to try and get rid of that troll. So I charged my BSB out, duped it out and did him 2 wounds. But unfortunately, fortunately, he passed his armour save. His leadership test, so he's still in there. And at the time when I needed my Mournfang to fail utterly, it didn't bode well because I hit with 5s and 6s on like 6 of the 8 attacks. Fortunately, I whiffed my to wound rolls, and Ollie did really well with his armour saves, or his regen save, sorry, and as well as the riders utterly whiffed it, and it ended up he only lost the combat by 1. which is great because he held fast, rolling miraculously low, and he's still in it. So that's pretty damn handy, especially where that little gobbo is. So yeah, utter fail has been turned into something useful, because we both wanted to fail in areas and both wanted to pass in others, and it went the complete opposite way. So we just had a good few minutes of pissing ourselves with laughter over that. So it's not been great, but yes, I should also point out that I managed to get Troll Guts and Toothcracker off on a unit. The latter of which came from a miscast, which I managed to generally survive, only killing an ogre, but failing to wound the Slaughtermaster. So yeah, I did all right there, got away with it, and yeah, it's now Orcs and Goblins turn 4, so we'll see what happens then.
Okay, it's the end of Orcs and Goblins turn 4. Animosity wise, I'm pretty sure I passed everything, which was nice. Had no stupidity tests to make because both the trolls were in combat. And I passed a frenzy test as well, so that was nice. And then I tried to be aggressive, like Sizer recommended, and this time it kind of paid off, only a little bit though. I charged my chariot and my goblins into the flank of the Mournfang. I charged my squigs into his BSB. And everyone else held. These guys just moved up, and everything else is as you see it. And then in the magic phase, I used my forbidden rod on my goblin. This is a magic item that I've never really seen anyone use, so I thought it's got to be worth it on a 50-point goblin. So he rolled for it, only got 1 extra power dice, then of course did 3 wounds to himself, killing himself, but it was funny. So I had a pretty good magic phase, so I lined up some spells. I'm going to cast Headbutt on his general with my Shaman, first time I ever cast it. Actually got the power of the War for once, because I actually had a boar chariot in close combat, so I actually had the +1 strength. And then managed to do 3 wounds to him, which was lovely, so he wasn't happy about that. Still, it was probably the only time that'll ever be useful, but... and then... with my other spell, I cast Foot of Gork, the big one this time, because I remembered to declare it, and killed 4 Iron Guts here, then stomped on his horde and killed 3 ogres, like outright, and then attempted to stomp on these again, but Gork got bored, wandered off. And so that was an awesome magic phase. It's really, well, stomped those guys. And then in the shooting phase, rock lobbers, one of them misfired, I think. Or the only one I have misfired. Oh no, it's the Doom Diver. Doom Diver can't fire this turn or next turn. One of the bolt fires misfired, can't fire this turn or next turn. That bolt fire fired and killed his Saber Tusk. And this rock lobber, he shot at the fire belly but scattered off. And then in close combat, the Squigs charged into the BSB. The BSB killed the troll. I did 3 wounds to the BSB. 2 from the Squigs and 1 from the troll. From vomiting. This troll died in the combat, but the chariot managed to do 5 wounds to the Mournfang. And then the goblins netted themselves after lowering their strength. But luckily the 2 big bosses with great weapons still managed to dish it out. And he only had 1 Mournfang left with 1 wound, and he failed his. It was pursued by the chariot and these guys, and caught, and then I overrun, but not quite enough to make it into contact with his horde. But the chariot made it into the difficult terrain, but luckily passed his difficult terrain test. And that was it. So it's looking pretty grim for the ogres. He's definitely going to need something to pull something desperate out of his hat. So that's it. So we're moving to ogres turn 5.
Yeah, this is looking pretty bad now. It's basically trying to force a panic test with the goblins. Managed to roll 20 shots at the goblin unit. Only hit with 7 of them. And then basically didn't manage to do enough wounds with that, and a shot from the from the Iron Blaster, the Grape Shot, to force a panic test, which was rather unfortunate. But I did manage to obliterate the Boar Chariot at the very least. But now, unfortunately, it is Orcs and Goblins turn 5, and I have got face down a unit of Squigs and a unit of Goblin Netters. And the Squigs are bloody nasty. The magic phase was pretty bust. I rolled very, very low, and just didn't have enough dice to really do what I wanted. Ollie managed to, he didn't want to risk suffering the attentions of the Maw, so he wisely scrolled it. And yeah, I think it's pretty much, if that unit breaks, that is the end of the game. So we'll have to see what happens in Orcs and Goblins turn 5.
Okay, it's the end of Orcs and Goblins turn 5. These guys just moved up. Those there. Goblins charging into the flank of the Ogres. The Squigs charging the front. I don't think I cast anything. Oh yeah, I cast Foot of Gork on these guys, but I think it scattered off. Or so I just spelled it, I'm not sure. Either way, it didn't do anything. And then that was pretty much it. In the shooting phase, just fired some stuff, didn't really kill anything of importance. Then in close combat, my Goblins and my Squigs did a real number on these guys. Killed his Slaughtermaster, killed loads of Ogres. He lost by loads, but he did actually manage to kill all the Squig handlers and they went wild. Killed 3 Savage Orcs, killed a fair few Ogres and a fair few Goblins. I think 5 there. Then he fled, but I failed to catch him, so he was actually 1 away. So he lost his standard as well. And that was pretty much it. So as it stands, he's actually winning, but we decided to just fast play the last turn, just to kind of see what may have happened, because he's obviously here. He rallied, we rolled the dice for that, and so it's really a case of whether the Orcs and the Goblins can actually charge into him in the next turn. So we're just going to fast play that just because we run out of time, just to see if there is actually a winner. So, but as it stands at the moment, if I can survive the next turn, he wins, just because he's got more points, oddly enough. So we're going to see. Okay, so we just run through the last turn quickly, kind of ignoring everything else. And obviously the Goblins recharged the Ogre unit, and the Orcs actually made it in. We decided not to roll for the combat, just because that's pretty much a guaranteed slaughter, I would have thought, as these guys were netted as well. So just to kind of clarify who actually won, just because we're both running out of time, Size Hungry and so am I. So really good game though. It's kind of a testament to my chaff that I can actually take out an Ogre army with just them. As both my combat units didn't actually get involved in any combat. My Goblins pretty much killed everything he had. So yeah. Some things I really liked was obviously the Goblins did amazingly well. My chaff, like most fanatics, did pretty well. The Mangler Squig, the Mangler Squig didn't do anything, but he held these Normfang up for a turn, which really helped. My artillery did reasonably well. These guys didn't do anything, but that was just because the trolls just kept getting in the way. They wouldn't die. So I've never wanted some trolls dead so badly. They just kind of blocked my charges and just held out. The Squigs did awesome. They just chewed through everything and then blew up. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, so his Death Star died. These guys got away. All his artillery is still in place, as well as his lead belchers. Yeah, so it wasn't quite the most exciting game, just because I do like a punch up in the middle, as does Si, and we just weren't getting it unless it was a Camp Goblin punch up. But they did pretty sweet. So the Boar Chariot obviously really helped that combat, killing the Normfang. So he did pretty well. But yeah, so it was a pretty good game. Shame it wasn't a big punch up, but certainly I think it's Battle for the Past is a tricky one because it's very hard for the Ogres to manoeuvre, and that is one of their strong points. And the Orcs don't really care because they love it, just because no one can run away from them very well. They can just charge in there and chop people up. if they can make the charge. The first games I've actually passed some charge rolls, which was nice. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I think for me, man of the match is probably the Goblins, just because they were, well, I don't know, them getting in the way of the Mornfang, the Fanatics coming out killing the Stonehorn, and then charging the flank of these guys. They were just where they needed to be all the time. Yeah, and the duffer of the match. Don't really have one actually. Oh, probably the Savage Orcs, because they just never get in the right place. But that was just bad positioning on my part. Although, actually it's the Trolls actually, just I'm angry with them, because they wouldn't die when I told them to. Really annoying. Yeah, so that's it. So I really enjoyed that game. Don't know if Si did, but we'll see how he feels about it. I'll hand you over.
Yeah, for me that was incredibly annoying because realising that you've been whipped twice in a row.
Hang on a sec. Sorry, the man of the match is the Shaman, because he cast a foot of Gork like 1,000,000 times and killed most of your army. So Gork's the man of the match for me.
Yeah, I've basically I'm pretty speechless about the performance of the Ogres. Playing 2,400 battles were never like this. I mean, this is just a one-sided drubbing that's happened twice in a row. It's incredibly annoying and not at all enjoyable. I can't really put my finger on it because no matter what I try, it wouldn't work. Like, all my artillery misfire, like just doing nothing on the first turn. My complete inability to hit the Mangler Squig. Against Orcs, you have to get in there, you have to get up in their face quick. Because if you don't, then they will outmaneuver you and do this. It's ridiculous that all the stuff that he took in his additional 600 points for all the fun, cool stuff that he wanted has beaten me. And I don't like that. I don't like it at all. Because that shouldn't happen. I mean, I'm a bit speechless. I'm pretty fucked off, to be honest. So I'm just going to leave it at that. But suffice to say, we'll be playing 2,400 points next time. So yeah, we'll see you next week.